This is my video introduction to my third and final lesson for my ESL practicum. Tomorrow I am teaching one lesson in 7th grade math. This lesson will be more traditional in that I will be lecturing the class about the properties of commutativity and associativity. In addition, students will use these concepts in conjunction with all real numbers, that is, positive and negative numbers and rational and irrational numbers. This particular lesson is the first of a 2-day lesson. As with the first 2 lessons that I taught, I am teaching this lesson at the direction of Carell Lotzer, who is the 7th grade math teacher at Laramie Junior High. I am beginning to feel more comfortable incorporating what I've learned in various settings while still remaining consistent with what Carell's methods are. With regards to Kevin, the sole ELL in the class, I have discovered that he is more social than I at first thought. I chatted with Carell about Kevin, who said that he's sometimes too chatty. I asked about his math skills, and Carell called him slow. It is unclear to me if this is a function of language challenges, a lack of natural talent, or a lack of effort. That said, he is not in Carell's math intervention class, so I'm guessing that his skills are at least C level. As before, the terminology is new to both Kevin and his peers. Therefore, I will seek to teach Kevin and his peers the new terminology in a similar way. The materials that I am using for this lesson are the teacher's manual for section 3.3.3 of the math textbook being used, which I will incorporate as part of the paperwork that I submit for this lesson, whiteboard and markers for both the students and myself, scratch paper for students math workbooks, and equity cards. If all goes well, students will gain an initial understanding of commutativity and associativity and how they work. These properties seem rather obvious once you know what they are, but upon further study, many people find that they're more complicated than would be expected. I also hope that they will gain more confidence in manipulating real numbers. Lastly, I hope that I will have a better handle on classroom management than with the first 2 lessons. In the last couple of weeks, I've become more aware of this factor as it relates to learning. With regards to anticipated challenges, I am somewhat concerned that I will treat this lesson as a speech rather than as a lesson. The reason for this concern is that when conducting a lecture-based lesson, in order to help me remember what I am doing, my inclination is to treat a lesson as a speech rather than as a give-and-take lesson. I am also again concerned about my classroom management aptitude. That said, I am aware of both of these concerns, and I think that I will be able to compensate for them. As mentioned previously, the lesson introduces the concepts of commutativity and associativity. I will first introduce the class to the 2 concepts that we will be learning. Then I will have 2 sets of 3 students come to the whiteboard for a demonstration using the equity cards. Based on what Carell has informed me about Kevin, I will include him in one of the 2 groups. The reason for doing this is that these demonstrations engage him without putting too much pressure on him. The first group will be for commutativity. I will say to the class, I want you to think about what commutativity might mean with regards to math. Now we're going to have a little demonstration of what it is. I'll have 2 students stand on one side of the whiteboard and one other student stand on the other side of the whiteboard. Then I'll have the 2 students join the one other student at the opposite side of the whiteboard. The students will then swap places, and I'll do the demonstration again. The students will then be sent back to their seats. Then, for about 30 seconds, I'll ask students to discuss at their tables what they think commutativity means. After that time, I'll bring the class back together for a discussion of what commutativity means. Next, I will scaffold the lesson with associativity. A group of 3 students will be selected as before to demonstrate the concept. A similar discussion will also be conducted. Students will then work together on problem 3-112 to get some initial practice with the 2 properties. After this introduction, we will work through problems 3-113 to 3-116 to gradually expand and scaffold students' understanding of and experience with commutativity and associativity. In particular, we will examine which of the mathematical operators of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are commutative and/or associative in nature. Students will also practice mathematical operations with these properties. Problem 3-116 further incorporates the use of fractions with the 2 properties being studied. Day 2 of the lesson, which I will not be conducting, will continue with scaffolding of what was learned in the first part of the lesson. Thank you.